amazing artist. Today we're going to do a duck, but we're not going to do it in colored pencil like this one is. We're going to do it in watercolor. So you should have your watercolor paints, a watercolor brush, and a pencil. We are going to do it on the smaller paper. This would be a great gift for Father's Day if you have or Grandparents' Day coming up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make his body. You see it's kind of like a rainbow and a smile. That on his body rests the first wing. So rainbow and then smile. It comes up to a point, and then we're just going to make a smile for the lower part of the wing. Then he has a neck that's kind of like a backwards S. So you can kind of just make an S right here, and then we'll fill that in where it needs to go. So if you can see, kind of just like with your finger, just kind of make an S. You don't have to actually draw it yet. And then we're going to make his head come around. So you can kind of think about how you want it to go. I want it to go a little bit like this. Kind of like a straight line with a little curve at the top. And then the S part, remember, because it's kind of like an S, we're going to do a little small kind of rainbow right here. And then we're going to loop it around. This is the S backward S part. And come down, out, 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 and then back around. So it's not exactly an S, but you kind of get that shape in your mind, then you can work with that shape. Then this part is flat on the water. He's more rounded, but when it rests on the water, it's kind of just flat on the water right there. And then we're going to come out for the little tail feather, and then back for the back tail. His beak is a rectangle type shape. You can make it a little more rounded than this one if you wanted to. So I'm going to come out with the head first, come down a little bit more, and then make the beak out, but instead of making it pointed, I'm going to make it more rounded, like that. And the part of the beak that's the top is bigger, so I'm going to make that section bigger and the bottom section smaller. There's a little nostril, kind of like place to breathe right here. And then this part is going to go around like a smile, and then a little bit right here is going to be going in a diagonal line. The next thing we need to do is the eye. The eye has a part that's not really showing right here, but it's kind of like darker right here and darker right here. So we could show that a little bit, but let's start with the pupil. The pupil's the black part of the eye. Usually there's like a little shadow in that part. And then around the pupil is the iris. The iris is brown for the duck, but you might find it in all, you could make it whatever color you wanted. It's kind of like a light brown. So that's the iris part that we're going to make. And then right here, it's just feathers like the rest of it, but it's a little bit darker. So I'm just kind of like making that look a little bit more dark. This part we can color in with black, but I might just color it in a little bit with the gray right now just to remind myself that that's the pupil, that's the black part, and the rest is going to be lighter colors. The next thing we're going to do is, he has like a really interesting pattern right here on the wing. So it's kind of like a layer of stripes. So you've got a white stripe, and then a little bit of black, and then some birds it's blue, some it's green, but that bigger part right here is like either green or purple, and then another black, and then white. And then around that is more feathers. So I'm just going to do that to show the other parts of the feathers. Back here you might have a place that's kind of lighter color and darker color. It doesn't have to be exactly like, real duck, but we could try to make it the best we can. So he has those webbed feet that you might just see a little bit under the water. So it would come out with the little webbed feet. Webbed feet have this rainbow kind of shape. So rainbow, and then a rainbow to the side, and a rainbow to that side. It shows like kind of like that webbed feet pattern. And we're probably barely going to show any of that, so if you want to kind of just like erase it, and then you'll paint it through the water, that would be good. We could add some little grasses back here. Maybe he's swimming in a pond. And when we paint it, we'll paint it with some blues and things like that. All right, so the best part of the mallard duck, if you're doing a boy, is his green head. So I'm going to start with a green around the edge, like this. And rinse my brush, get the water, and add just water. This gives it that look of being more rounded. Yes?
Maybe the duck, since it looks a lot like it, into a swan.
If you want to, yeah, you could do that. Your swans have what, a longer neck?
Yeah, they have longer necks and they're white.
So if you made yours with a little bit too long of a neck, then yeah, I would make it into a swan if you would like to. So I'm going to add just water in here. And this part, is this actually green? No, this is going to be brown. I'm just kind of like, sometimes these ducks have like a little bit of color underneath, so I'm just spreading it out to be like an underneath color. But really just the green part is going to be on the head. I might have to wait for some of it to dry. Just on the head, I'm going to add the light green, like that. On the edges, maybe right here, just right there. Then he's going to have a band of white. So I didn't really leave that white, so I'm going to get some paper towel and dab it off where I want it to be white. The towel removes any color that you don't want. So like wherever, even if you're doing clouds, remember when we did clouds? And we removed the color by dabbing the towel. So he's got a little band of white right here, so I want to remove all the color and have that band of white. I might come back and add some more like around the edges, but for right here, that's gonna be mostly white. Then I see that he's light brown, kind of at the back, he's like a more light brown. And up here, he's more of a dark brown. So when this mixes with the green, it should make it more dark brown. And I'm not gonna go past the white part. I'm just gonna go right here and add this color, this brown, and see how when it mixes with the green, it makes it even darker. That's cool, huh? Kind of blend it all together. And then brown on all of the edges. So I'm gonna do this brown here, brown on this edge, brown on this one. I might leave that part white, so I'm just gonna go around this little part and leave that white. But then brown right here. And then how do I make it look rounded? Fill it in with water, but don't do those stripes, leave those stripes. We're gonna let it dry a minute and then we'll do those stripes. Come around. Get some more water. All right, so if I'm doing the stripes, remember certain parts of it are going to be white and certain part of it is going to have more color. So you can pick what color you want. Mine's going to blend a little bit. If you want to wait for it to dry, you can even do this next week. But the purple is going to go right here. See how that's going to blend because it's too wet? If you want that color to stay in one spot, you're going to have to let it dry for a little bit and then do that. Because right now it's too wet. It's just going to move the color everywhere. So, but see how if it does that, you can just move it, remove it with the towel. But I would recommend waiting for it to dry a little bit and then do that purple color. The same with the black, especially because black is such a like deep dark color. You might even want to just do the black with Sharpie. But if you want to do the purple, just know it's going to bleed into the other colors. If you want to do it with a marker, some of the markers bleed too. So I would do it with a Sharpie marker if you're going to do it with a marker. Because the watercolor marker, the water markers, the water-based ones will work like a watercolor and they'll just bleed. All right, so how do we make the water? So I'm gonna just get some blue right here. Some blue, water, paint, paper. And I just wanna like put a little bit down. If the color of the duck bleeds into the water, that's okay, because it'd be like a little bit of his reflection. So it'd actually work really good. I'm just gonna go around like this, around like this. Remember, oh, sorry, you can't see it. I'm just dabbing some color. So I'm putting on the blue, and then I'm gonna go in dashing lines this way and spread that out. Get some water, spread it out further. And if I wanna show his little webbed feet, I don't wanna show much of it. Remember where I did that little line? I'm just gonna kind of trace that little line with a little bit, and it's gonna blend all around. That's okay, because remember, that leg is underwater, so you don't really see it very clearly. You just kind of see a little bit of the color. So don't worry if it's not really showing up. That's the goal, is to not let it show up too much. I'm gonna add some more dashes of color, just like here and there. I can go right over the leg and let that blend in. While I'm letting his head dry, before I do the beak or anything like that, I can add some grasses. So if you wanna get some greens, like this, you're gonna start at the bottom, like kind of in the water, and come up. And be really gentle with it. It's okay if it blends everywhere, because that looks kind of cool, right? Maybe some over here. I didn't even put more paint on. I'm just getting more water. And kind of coming up in different places with the grasses. That looks so pretty. We can add some blue around the grass, some little blue dashes to make it look like it's a watery world with some water reflections. So pretty, right? Okay, my head is not really dry enough to do the beak, but I want to show you how to do the beak. You can let yours dry a little bit longer than I'm doing. The beak could be orange or yellow, but I think the best would be a mixture of orange and yellow. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in the middle line. Then I'm going to get some of that orange color and do orange on the edge. See? See orange on the edge? Now I'm just getting water, and I'm bringing the water into the middle parts. Now it has a little bit of orange, a little bit of water. If it touches the head and the head's still wet, it's gonna have some green too. If you like that, of course, feel free to do that. If you don't like it, then wait for it to dry a little bit. This part right here, I feel like is a little bit too green and not brown enough, so I'm gonna add a little bit of brown to this. I'm not gonna go down and touch the water too much because I don't want to put too much brown in the water. A little bit of brown in the water looks so good because it looks like it's all blending together in this watery world, but I don't want to do too much. Kind of just tracing some of those lines with brown, make it a little bit darker, but not touching the water, not yet. Just kind of tracing around, adding some browns. So pretty, right? What else could we do? We could do the black, but I would like to wait to do the black just because I'm worried that it's going to be too much blending with black. But the brown goes all the way up to the white line. So even though we're waiting to do the black and white lines, we can go up to the edge of those lines with the brown, but I'm just getting water to do that. And then the water moves the brown that I already put on there. And then you would be best to do the black with the watercolor, I think. However, if you wanted to get a Sharpie, if you want to wait and use the black watercolor. If you don't want to wait, if you want to get it all done today, you could take a little black Sharpie. If it's not wet, it will work. And just add the black in that spot. That's where black goes. And then the eye right here, and go around like that. And then this part, you know how that part was a little bit darker? I'm not gonna do that part with the black because I don't want that to be too dark. But you could get like a darker green color. Like this is like a blue-green. You can mix it with a little blue and a little green and just kind of go over that line right there with the blue-green. And then you can get some water and trace around carefully, as careful as you can, around the edge of the eye with water, and that's gonna bring that darker green around the eye and then blend in with the other greens. Another place that it could be a little bit darker like this, if you wanted to, if you're ahead, and you want to add a little bit more right here, you could add some more right there. You could add some more like under his chin, because that would have more shadow and be a little bit darker. And maybe like around the edge, even that could get a little bit more darker color. You have to be really careful with that part though, because you don't want to do too much and then it blend everywhere. So it's better to let it dry for just a little bit and then do that part. Anything else that you guys feel like you want to add? This could be a really good color to add for the plants too, if you want to go over the plants. What's better than one color of green? Two, yes. Oh, I love the fountain, so pretty. You could add you guys know what cattails are?
Yeah.
Cattails are when you see those little grasses that have like a little brown. So if you wanted to get a little brown and just do like a little brown dot at the top of these, that could look pretty, like little cattails. I don't know why they're called cattails. They don't really look like cattails to me.
I had a lily pad.
Oh, a lily pad. Yeah, like a Monet. That's a good idea. So if you wanted to do a lily pad, just get a little bit of green. And just even do it with like a little splash like that. Bigger when it's closer and smaller when it's further away. I always love doing a little bit of splash painting. You guys are very responsible, so since you're responsible, if you wanted to like add a little bit of like just happy little blue dots, this is how you could do it around the edges. I wouldn't put it on your duck too much because you don't want, like, see it when it got on the duck? It made blue spots, and I didn't really want to do that, but it looks cool to have it around the edge, doesn't it? You could do all kinds of things with this. And this makes a really good gift for somebody, doesn't it?
Like my mom's birthday gift.
Yeah, does she love ducks?